those smell good. Our next guests are bringing together three simple pleasures: coffee, wine, and dessert. What else do you need? They created a cozy spot in one of Houston's oldest neighborhoods, the Heights, and they're coming up on their one-year anniversary. Andy Adams and Chuck Russell join me with Caffvino and how it came together. So Caff for the coffee and Vino for the wine. Hello there.
Hi. Thanks for having us.
All right, a little bit of your history here, Andy. Your family lived in the Heights for over 110 years.
We've been there a while now, so
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun. We were just, my great-grandfather got there, and then he opened a little cafe on Houston Avenue, and we never left.
It started with a cart, right?
Had a little push cart, yeah. And so he went up and down Washington Avenue and Houston Avenue in the Greater Heights. Well, before it was actually the Greater Heights, just up and down. Then he kind of graduated into a little restaurant in the bottom of their house. So everybody who worked in our family had to work at the restaurant downstairs.
That's the way it used to be with the old country too,
had
right?
to do it, yeah.
Immigrated from Sicily.
Yep, that's San Biagio Platini, a little village out there.
Yeah, so your grandmother and your siblings, her siblings all worked in there and lived around there until the 1930s, but you are still there. So.
I'm still there. We haven't left. I went to the same schools as my brothers, my parents. So yeah, been a while.
But you weren't there since the 1930s, let me clarify. Great face cream. All right, at 15 you started working in your brother's restaurant.
Right,
so that hospitality industry has been around for you, not only you watching it and seeing it in your family, but actually working it yourself. Sure, yeah, that was just part of that was just a required, path of life for us, was to get into the business. It's been a natural fit for us, and I couldn't be happier. Yeah, all right. You spent time as a wine distributor. 2005, co-founded Corkscrew Wine Bar, and then Chuck, you have been out of the hospitality industry for 20 years, but before then, did a lot of stuff in the industry. Right?
Yeah, I was owned a couple of places back in the early aughts and 90s, and was a general manager of a place in the early 90s.
What brought you into it?
Back into it, or
no? What brought you into it to begin with? What was your
originally?
attraction?
I'm morbidly shy normally, and so when I was a bartender, you could actually have a conversation and get flubbed up, and then just walk away, and they couldn't follow you.
Either walk away or pour them another drink and go, "That was you. That wasn't me."
Exactly.
Right?
So it helped out quite a bit.
Yeah. All right, and it's so interesting because the industry back then, which is not that long ago, 20 years ago, is radically different today. Yeah. I feel like, gosh, we have so many more not chain places, so many more entrepreneurs getting into it.
Isn't that fun? I mean, I think it's great. That's not to knock, successful chains and so forth, but
those are great.
Yeah, it's great. It's just, but our whole thing is built on local, and that was our thing. Again, the ties to the neighborhood. Chuck lived there as well, and so all of our pastries, or the wine, the coffee that we come in, everything comes from the neighborhood.
We're going to dig into this in a second.
Amazing self-discipline.
You got back into it because you say you missed the controlled chaos.
Yep, and that's exactly what the restaurant business is. When you're busy, it's just like frazzled, but it's controlled. Yeah. And so it gives me the adrenaline rush that I need.
Yeah. So you make sure you're loaded up on the coffee before you go into the chaos, and then you wind down with your wine. Okay, the two coming together. How'd that idea come up?
Well, the location spoke as a coffee shop. It had been one before previously, and our backgrounds was more wine, and it was a necessity that we have wine. So the word Caffvino, it couldn't have been a better marriage. I mean, when you look at the word, the way it's spelled out, it just says it. Yeah. So that way we checked a lot of boxes for people who didn't drink. We had coffee. We had a really eclectic, esoteric coffee selection.
Or for people who drink both.
And there are people who like wine, we got you covered as well. Yeah.
And we just saw some pictures there. The atmosphere is meant to kind of go back to that idea of what you talked about before. Like, the family lived above the business, and then it still felt like a home.
Yeah, it looks like my grandmother's living room.
Yeah.
It really does.
On purpose.
Yeah. So we don't scream and yell at people like my grandmother did, but sure, it's a thing. Well, that's not exactly true, but sometimes.
All right, let's start with the coffee. And so coffee can, sometimes you taste coffee and go, what am I drinking? Is this boiled water? Other times you taste coffee and go, oh, wow, that is
So the coffee I just poured is a drip coffee from Cruiser Coffee, which is in the East End, not in the Heights. Okay. But that is, Keith, the owner of Cruiser Coffee, is basically, I've known him for 30 years. And he does a small batch roast as opposed to the big stuff. Yeah. And it brings a lot more flavor and a lot more nuance to the coffees.
Yeah, it does.
And he brings in some, we've got a customer of ours who posted on one of the Google reviews, says it's hard to find a better cold brew in town than us.
Wow.
And that's just because Keith does a really good job of just nurturing the roast and all that good stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of like what we've seen in so many areas where it's craft. It's like a craft coffee, right?
Yeah, his brew, his roast is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's just an old ancient roaster, and it just makes the most poignant. The beans are just so flavorful.
Yeah, from beans to grapes.
Oh, that.
Yeah, oh, that. Tell us about this right here.
Okay, what you're drinking is a Grappello. It's an Italian grape from the Lombardy region of Italy, and I'm a big fan. If you like Pinot Noir, you're going to love this stuff.
Yeah.
And again, our whole focus has been on smaller distribution, smaller family-owned wineries. You know, what they have today, then it's gone tomorrow. Yeah. That's what this is. It's just a little bit more of a wine that's here today, gone tomorrow, but while it's here, it's fantastic.
And what I love about this, I usually slide to the drier side of wines. This one has just just enough sweetness to it.
Enough. I was going to say, if you like Pinot Noir, this is an Italian version of that. I think just checks the box in a big way.
You know what's checking my boxes right now?
I'm telling you.
You know what's checking my boxes right now. I'm checking every single box I got in me. You mentioned earlier, locally sourced, so you're helping out other local business owners, but as well as looking at, they're using fresh ingredients, good quality ingredients.
Surely. I mean, that's the trademark. I think during COVID, everyone had an opportunity to become, a baker and stuff. So utilizing our parameters of the Heights as our neighbors to join in with, we've been able to lucky enough to source some great people.
What is going on
yeah,
here?
Sweet and savory. This is a olive oil cake. It's a Mediterranean dish, and it's really popular with us. We put a little bit of orange squeeze zest. Change your life, man. That stuff's
change your life.
You shall know the truth.
I'm
and the truth
telling
shall
you.
set you free.
Testify.
I'm gonna testify right now. We're in church right now. No, and when people hear, they go olive oil, and that's what makes it really nice and moist.
Hey, I'm thinking pasta and cooking with olive oil. When you tell me it was a cake, I was like, Then I had it. Then,
it keeps it moist.
So I don't know what I'm talking about.
And let's face it, olive oil is great for everything, right? Your skin, everything. But this is delicious. All right, this
flourless chocolate cake. Again, one of these things that's light and fluffy, but once again without the flour. And as far as we're really
changed my life again.
How many times can you have it change?
I'm gonna have my life changed.
You got at least two more changes coming in a few seconds.
Okay, look at this right here. That is
a dense. It's a Mexican chocolate chip. Dense. It's traditional.
Yeah.
But once again, the most holistic we can possibly find in a chocolate chip.
Yeah.
Same thing in the pistachio cookie.
Yeah. You have an event coming up.
We do. It's called Caffvino Vino Fest, and it's basically we're going to have about 45 wines, food, music. It's a good tasting. It's a chance for people to experience, again, some more eclectic wines that are a little bit off the beaten path and with small production. And luckily, we're with the place you can buy that wine.
I love it. It's a great gathering place, wine, coffee, and friendship, and just to sit and take a break for a while.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, thank you all very much, and happy 1-year anniversary.
Thank
and by the
you
way,
so
I
much.
remember you when you were in the bar business a long time ago, and I'd be like, yeah, you made me a drink that also changed my life. All right, mark your calendar for Sunday, May 17th for the Caffvino Vino Fest. That's happening from 1 to 5 p.m. Enjoy wine samples, live music, and a fun afternoon in the Heights. This is a 21 and up event with limited space. For tickets, visit greatdayhouston.com and we will connect you.